Alright. No. Alright, how's everybody doing? Good? Okay. Moment, machen wir zuerst Class Dojo. There's 3 of us, right? But one person doesn't come or isn't here today. Just doesn't come. Nein. Und Login. Ach, da bist du, danke schon. Okay, wir sind Tiger Tag B. Nein. Nein. Und der Leonardo ist immer nicht da, oder? He's never here. Whoops. So. Attendance machen. Er ist nicht da. Gut. Okay, also zuerst machen wir das Datum. Dann machen wir die Zahlen 1 bis 20. Obwohl es gibt nur 2 von uns, even though there's just 2 of us. 3 of us, I should say. 2 of you, 1 of me. Okay, heute ist der 31. März. Heute ist der 31. März. Also 31 buchstabiert man so 31. Okay, also das ist 31, aber man muss S-T-E-N machen. S-T-E-N, so that you account for the TH. So, or I'm sorry, ST in this case. So 31st, the STEN is similar to our ST. Or if it was 30, it would be 30th. Or if it was the 3rd, it would account for the RD. Okay? So 31 is 31, and STN makes it the 31st. But we're going to learn 1 to 20 before we get to numbers that high. What do you think heute means? Any ideas? Date. Date. Genau. Close. Not date. We're talking about the date. Sorry. I jumped to answer before I even thought about what you said. Heute ist der 31. März. Heute.
Today.
Ja.
31st of March.
Ja, eben, genau. Sehr gut. Wunderbar. Und heute ist Mittwoch. Mittwoch. Was ist Mittwoch? What do you think Mittwoch ist? Today, heute ist der 31. März und Mittwoch. Und ich mache Klassen-Euro auf Class Dojo. Und ich habe Tiger Tag B. Und Giselle kriegt ein Klassen-Euro und Gavin auch. Mittwoch. Today is what? Wednesday. Yeah, good. So mit comes from mittel. All right, so that's a cognate. That means middle. And Woche is the word for week. So literally the middle of the week. All right, Mittwoch. Heute ist Mittwoch. Gut. Okay, wir machen die Zahlen. Also ich habe Flashkarten. And I'm going to go through and I'll say them and I want you to repeat them after me. And since I'm going to go in order from 1 to 20, if you keep track, you should be able to know what number we're on all right, and what the numbers are as we say them, all right? So try to keep track as we go. Ready? Okay. So repeat after me, please. Eins.
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 Gut. Zwei.
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 Zwei. Gut. Drei.
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 I can't like.
It's okay. Drei. Try. Drei. Gut. Vier.
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 Gut. Fünf.
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 That one's easier, right? Sechs.
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 Gut. Sieben.
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 Wunderbar. Acht.
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 Gut. Neun.
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 Gut. 10.
10.
10.
10.
Sehr gut. 11.
11.
11.
11.
11. Wunderbar. Let's go over 1 to 10. I want to look at combinations of letters and the sounds that they make. So we'll go through them once more, and then we'll talk about some letter combinations and their sounds. Just like kindergartners and preschoolers do with their teachers, and children, toddlers do with their parents. They talk about sounds of letters, but also combinations of letters. So when we're learning a second language, there are many similarities between that and learning how we learned our first language when we were very young. All right. Can you see over here? Okay, good. All right, so let's go through them once more after me, please, okay? Eins,
Eins.
zwei,
Zwei.
drei,
Drei.
vier,
Vier.
fünf,
Fünf.
sechs,
Sechs.
sieben,
Sieben.
acht,
Acht.
neun,
Neun.
10.
10.
Gut. Okay, so let's talk about wo ist mein Marker in meiner Tasche? So we have eins, zwei, drei. Eins, zwei, drei. What sound does the EI make? I. Sehr gut. Wunderbar. Ich gebe gerne einen Klassen-Euro. Ja, I. Gut. Then wir haben 4, 7. 4, 7. What sound does that IE make? Exactly. Sehr gut. Wunderbar. So, I came up with a strategy when I was in 9th grade. That's when I started to learn German, on how I could remember what words with EI, the sound they make, and then what sound words with IE makes. Do you have any idea what my strategy would have been? Or could you think of a strategy yourselves, possibly, to remember what sound they make? Ja, gerne. Kein Problem, kein Problem.
Okay.
Mhm.
Like when you
Take your time.
okay, when you look at like the last letter for each of them. Whichever one the last one is like what the sound is.
I'm glad you said that. That's exactly what I figured out when I was in 9th grade. So I always looked at the second letter, the last letter in the letter combination for these two in particular, and that's the sound it makes. Ends in I, it makes an I sound. Ends in E, it makes an E sound. So whenever I looked at words, sieben, vier, ein, zwei, drei, any words that have those letter combinations, it took me a second, just a second, to see that second letter, make the connection, and I was able to say it right. But you'll be surprised how quickly you won't have to think about it anymore. You'll just start to know exactly how it sounds. All right, how about, guck mal auf das S, S. What sound does the S make? Because it's not, yeah, gut, wunderbar. Sie, sieben, or was that the only, oh, sechs and sieben, wunderbar. How about, was macht ein EU? EU. Was macht? Not A. Remember what that? Remember how we said that one?
Wait, can you say it again?
Mm-hmm. Neun. Neun. Hmm? And what else? You can say the sound. Just say the sound.
O-W?
Neun. Close. Neun. Oi. Oi.
O-U.
Neun. Yeah. Oi. Oi. So however you want to spell it. But more importantly is that we know the sound. Oi. Oi. Neun. Neun. Okay. How about, this is a harder one. The Z. What sound did the Z make? It has, if we want to give it a letter combination, the S would be in there. But I would put a letter before that. Sane. Sane. Yes. Zwei. 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 So we're used to saying that letter combination, right? Just not at the beginning of a word. What's a word that we would use that letter combination in English? Say again? Just TS, like nothing in between.
Tsunami. But that doesn't
Tsunami, silent T.
Tsunami is the only one that like has letters, but it's not like they say it.
Does it have to be at the beginning of the word?
Shirts.
Shirts. Yes. Good. What else? Und ich gebe dir so ungern einen Klassen-Euro. What else? Anything that ends
I'm
in...
gonna say dirts, but that doesn't make sense.
No, but anything, any noun that you would make plural.
Streets.
Yeah, streets, seats, hats, mats, bats, cats, lats, vats. So anything that you would make plural, right? And then so much more. So my point is we're used to saying this combination, just not at the beginning of a word, like in German, which is said often. The Z, the TS sounding Z is often said at the beginning of the word. So we have to get used to that. Zehn, zwei, and you'll hear it a lot. But it's a common mistake for Americans or English speakers to say zwei, zwei, say it like a Z sound or an S sound, zwei, zwei. So you really got to get that zwei, zehn, when you're saying those words. All right, let's move on. So machen wir 11 bis 20. Okay. We did this one. Let's do it again. 11. Gut. So it looks like this word here, right? Those creatures that have the pointy ears. But do you think that's what it actually means? 9. No. Do you know what we call that? What we linguists call that when a word looks similar in two languages? Cognate is, yes, when it looks similar in two languages and it has the same meaning. But what is it when it looks similar in two languages but it doesn't have the same meaning? If it does have the same meaning, it's true. It does have the same meaning. It's a cognate. It's a true cognate. A false cognate. Good. False cognate. We can also call it, or it is also called false friend. Okay? So false cognate, false friend, that's when they look alike but they're not the same. My favorite German false cognate is das Gift. Das Gift. What is a gift in English?
Like a present.
A present, right? Something we give to somebody. We don't expect anything in return. However, what do you think gift might be in German that's very different from that? Like actually quite the opposite almost. It could be given in a food. You're right, that would be like the opposite. You take something instead of give it. But putting something in food is even closer.
Poison?
Yeah, exactly. Poison. So das Gift auf Deutsch in German means poison. So that's like my favorite false cognate. So you can't always assume that because a word looks the same in another language that it actually is the same, because that is very different from what we know as a gift.
And what's gift?
Gift is Geschenk. Geschenk. Much different word. Das Geschenk is actually a present or a gift. Yeah. All right. Okay. Weiter. This one's not the easiest one. 12. 12. That's the other letter I knew there was more. What does a W make? What sound? 12. Well, forget about the Z. How about zwei? This is how we say, that's a W. What's your name? Wie heißt du? Wie heißt du? A V. A W makes a V sound. Good. And a V, nine, one might think, but fear. F. Yes, a V at the beginning of a word makes an F sound. Okay, so 12. Okay, so it has this funny looking letter. This is a Ö. So when you put the t's with the B and an Ö, it becomes a difficult word for Americans, for people who speak English to say. So 12, it takes a bit. How about das nächste ist 13. 13. 13. 13. It's okay. All you need to do is try. That's all I'm asking. We're learning a language for the first time, a different language, German for the first time. You're not expected. Nobody expects anybody to be able to say things perfectly when you first start. Then you'd be like crazy genius. 14. 14. Good. That one's easier, right?
Yeah, because it was just putting 4 and 10 to it. Good observation. So that was going to be a question. How do we make the numbers in the teens? And Gavin just answered it. So we put the ones number combined with 10. Yep. Which is similar to English. We say teen, which is kind of like 10. Just take an E away. All right. 15. Wait.
15. 15. Gut. 16. 16. What do you notice about the number 16?
And the number 6.
Looks the same with the 10, but no S.
Exactly. So we omit the S when we're making the 16 from 6. Unlike the other numbers we've done so far, 13, 14. Also, did we make a 12 by saying 12? 9. What was that? It was a hard one to say. 12, right. So that's similar to English, right? Do we say 2 to make 12? We say 12. We come up with a whole new word. And 12 is kind of like a cognate to 12 because you have the TW also. And then you have the VE, which is similar to the F, if you consider F similar to a V. But you'd have to stretch your imagination there. And also, how about, did we say Einstein for 11? Do you remember what that was? Elf, wunderbar. Okay, weiter. 17. What do you notice about 7 and 17?
The E, there's no E and N after the B.
Right, so we drop the EN. We don't say 17. We say 17. We got lazy on that one. 18. 18. Gut. 19. 19. Wunderbar.
It kind of sounds like 19, just like without like.
Interesting, and like a squeaky voice, 19. It'll sound
Yeah. Yeah. And did we talk about where the English language comes from?
Latin.
9. No. English comes German. It's Germanic language. So we didn't do the whole map thing with you guys. You know where England is, right? On a world map. It's like right off the coast of Europe up here. And so England is, well, I'm not going to do it right now for the interest of time. But so you have England here. That's, of course, where English comes from. But the English language came from a tribe of Germans called the Saxons. They were on the east side of Germany. All right, we can look at a map. I'm sure we'll look at a map sometime. And the Saxons migrated north, and they migrated northwest, and ended up in England. And there were these people who were indigenous to the British Isles. Okay, so they were there for a long time before the Saxons came over, and they were called the Anglos. This is where the word English comes from. It comes from Anglos. And so you would just change the A to an E. You'd have Inglos, and then use your imagination, and we put the ISH eventually. So the Anglo-Saxons, the Saxons came over, brought their Saxon dialect, which was a dialect of German. Germans were made up of a lot of different German tribes that were in the area, in the regions of where Germany, the country, is now. And so Saxons was one of the tribes. So they brought their Saxon German dialect over, and they mixed with the Anglos, and that's where English comes from. So English is known as a Western Germanic language, So it makes sense that the numbers, you're going to have a lot of cognates. The cadence of the numbers is going to sound similar sometimes. So 19, 19, 19, 19, 18, 18. All right. And the last one we'll do today is 20.
20.
20. 20. Yeah. It's not as easy, right? Because you have the TS and then a V essentially. If you were going to spell it like English, it would be TSV. 20. 20. And we don't pronounce that G like J or G. It's like a kind of like a cat hissing. 20. 20. All right, wunderbar. So, take out your Chromebooks and go to Google Canvas
and we're just going to use it as a whiteboard. And so I'm going to show you a flashcard with a number on it, and then you're going to write, to the best of your recollection, the number, the Arabic numeral.
Like in English or like
In the number, the Arabic numeral. Do you know what number system we use in the United States?
wait,
You know what Roman numerals are?
yeah,
Like these?
yeah.
Can you give me an example of an Arabic numeral? I argue that you use them every day.
I know it's 9.
Yeah, 9. This is an Arabic numeral. Sure. This is an Arabic numeral. This is an Arabic numeral. This is an Arabic numeral. So we use Arabic numerals. Actually, the Arabic number system is used all over the world. It's the most prevalent number system used. So when I say write the Arabic numeral, all I mean is write the number instead of spelling out the number. Okay? And I'm going to erase some of this. All right, and you can use these up top to cheat, right? So all the numbers 1 to 20 are across the top of the wall, but see if you can get it without using them. And so you might use them for a little bit and eventually try to not use them and be able to solve the ones that I put up. All right, the first number is 5. 5. And just write the number and show me as soon as you get it. 5. Wunderbar. Gut. Sehr gut. And I like this one too. If I put on Class Dojo, this is pretty cool. So, as you can see, I don't know why I'm fascinated by this, but when I do it on my phone, it shows up there. It's the little things. All right. Das nächste ist 8. 8.
I'm not gonna put, but I think it's this.
Gut. Gut, perfekt. Ja. Sehr gut. Das nächste ist 17. 17.
I think
17. Wunderbar. Nein. Nein. +1. +1. Das ist okay. Remember, you can use the up top. You can use them if you need to.
I was
You want to get to the point where you don't need to use them, but if you need to. Und das nächste ist 20. 20. 20. Gut, wunderbar. Das nächste ist 16. 16. 16. Sehr gut. Sehr gut. Wunderbar. Das nächste ist. Moment, wo bist du? Ja. 12. 12. Gut, perfekt. Das nächste ist 10. 10. 10, sehr gut. Sehr gut. Und das nächste ist 18. 18. Gut. Wunderbar. Alright, machen wir Mathe-Probleme. Wir machen jetzt Mathe-Probleme. Wir machen Mathe-Probleme. Do you know what I'm saying? Mathe-Probleme. Mathe-Probleme. Problems. Mathe. 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 Mathe-Probleme. Isn't it funny how, whoops, when you say something, it sounds so different that you don't understand it, but if I wrote that on the board, you would know immediately what I meant by that, because all you do is take the E off. All right, so wir machen Mathe-Probleme. Moment. Okay. Alright, das ist mein Minus. Das ist mein Minus. Und ich habe auch ein Plus. Das ist mein Plus. Wir machen Mathe-Probleme. Okay. So, das erste Problem ist, and same thing, you're going to do the same thing, write the Arabic numeral for an answer. 1. Das erste Problem ist 1 plus 2. 1 plus 2, ganz einfach. Ganz einfach. 1 plus 2.
11.
Nein, nicht 11. Nein, nein. 1 plus 2. 1
Oh,
plus 2. Nein, nicht 11. Nein, nicht 11. 1 plus 2. 1 plus 2.
Oh, oh.
Ja, eben. Gut. Kannst du Giselle sagen? Can you show Giselle what you wrote?
3.
Ja, 3. Eben. Sehr gut. Okay, 3 ist richtig. Gut. 1 plus 2 ist 3. 3.
I don't know why.
Good. No problem. Did you put the combination together like 1 and then a 2?
I'm not very good with addition and
That's okay. That is all right. All right, das nächste Problem ist 13 minus 13 minus 4. 13 minus 4.
9.
Ja, sehr gut. Wunderbar. Du hast das auf Deutsch buchstabiert. Wunderbar. 9. Wunderbar. Sehr gut. 9. 13 minus 4 ist 9. Und das nächste Problem ist Moment, ist 7 plus 7 plus, sag mal 8. Das nächste Problem ist 7 plus 8. Ja, ja, sehr gut. 15. Wunderbar. Ich gebe euch Klassen-Euro. Und das letzte Problem, last problem, ist 16 minus oh. Nein, nicht das. 16 minus. Painter's tape is old. How about 16 minus 17? 16 minus 17. Close.
Wait.
16 minus
Negative?
ja. Trickery. -1. Also minus 1. -1. Wunderbar. Okay. All right. Last thing we'll do with the whiteboards. I want to see if you can recognize the numbers by me only saying them.
Ooh,
So
okay.
verbal. So this is receptive.
So do we just like
Write the same thing. Write them down, but you're listening for them this time, and not reading and listening. So these are practicing your listening skills, receptive learning. So das erste ist, the first one is eins. Gut. Wunderbar. Eins. Yep. Sehr gut. Okay. 5.
Oh, and then
5. Nein. Ja. 5. Richtig. Sehr gut. Das nächste ist 14. 14. 14.
I think this is wrong.
Na, ja. 14. Also auf der linken Seite. Auf der linken Seite. Gut, richtig. Sehr gut. Und how about 9?
Oh, I
9.
know what it's still
9. Gut. Und 20. 20.
Oh,
Nein. 20. It's on that side. 20. Nein. 20. 20. Nein. Also 15, 17, 16, they're reversed. 18, 19, 20.
oh, 20.
Yeah, 20. Yep, that one's hard. That's alright. Good. And the last one, how about 3? Yeah, richtig. Sehr gut, wunderbar. Alright, please go to gimkit.com/live. And the last thing we'll do is just play Gimkit till the end of class.
When is the end?
218, yep.
Wait, what is it called?
Gimkit.com/live, I believe. You can Google it though, Gimkit Play.